Nice people of the interwebs, it's Pete Thorn. Welcome to my studio, and hey, you know what I hold here in my hand. It's the STRYMON Iridium. This thing's been out for a little while, and it made a big noise when it came out, and the nice folks at STRYMON, some friends of mine, they contacted me and said, hey, maybe you'd make one of your demos of this. And I said, sure, I'd love to, because I was actually really interested in checking it out anyway. It's their first foray into the modeling world, of course, and I like the approach that they've taken with it, actually. It's 3 classic amps based on Fender Deluxe, AC30 Top Boost, and Marshall Plexi, and that's it. And I'm kind of liking this direction in modeling towards, I mean, I find it interesting, and I wasn't sure about it at first, to be honest, but towards more targeted kind of sounds, as opposed to giving you 50 million different models, and everybody gets option anxiety and is overwhelmed. I'm liking the trend. We've seen it with the Fenders, the little deluxe they made, as well as the twin reverb that are like one sound modeling amps, basically. And this sort of, I think, sort of falls into that category as well. It's just very simple. I mean, you get those 3 different amps, the classic sort of American, British chime amp, and then full-on Marshall Plexi Roar. And I will say that it's probably not going to do metal, this pedal. It'll do maybe old school metal with a boost, but if you play pop, country, rock and roll, you know, anything like that, this thing is definitely got those tones covered quite well, I think. But for anything like metal on up, you're probably going to need a boost. The Marshall Plexi can get fairly gainy. You heard me use it for all the guitar solos in the song at the beginning of the video, as well as the other amps, but the Plexi was the solos. But I did have the gain almost cranked on 10, and it's a fairly sort of, I would say, sort of mid-focused and maybe on the slightly dark side take on a Marshall Plexi. But that'll work great for, like I say, pop, country, rock and roll, anything kind of atmospheric like I was doing in the track at the beginning of the video. I just don't know if it'll do aggressive metal, just be forewarned. So some of the other features here, what do we got? We got a drive control, we got a level control. Drive, of course, sets like the amplifier gain, and then the level's the overall volume. We've got bass, middle, and treble full 3-band EQ. And then there's a room control here. There's a secondary function dealio, like many STRYMON pedals have. If you hold down this switch for a few seconds, this light right here will change color, and then by turning the room knob here, you can actually change the different room sounds from a small room to a medium room to a very large room. And then by pushing the button, it takes you back to the regular mode. The room control then just becomes the amount of that room you selected for that sound. On the switches, you've basically got a cab selection switch here. So per amp, you've got 3 different impulse responses that you can pick. Let's talk about the IRs for a minute. They're full 500 millisecond, 24-bit, 96K IRs, and yes, you can swap them out if you want. They've got editor software. You plug in the pedal via USB to your computer, and if you want to load in your own IRs, you can. You've got 9 slots that you can store them in, basically. And like I say, you can do stereo, 24-bit, 500 millisecond IRs if you want to do that. The other 3-position switch right here will allow you to select between the round, chime, and punch amplifiers, and that's based on Fender, based on Vox, based on Marshall. A couple provisions here for an expression pedal, expression or MIDI. You've got stereo out as well, because of course the room is stereo and you can do stereo IRs, or you can just take a mono out if you want to. And other than that, it's the guitar input. It's pretty basic, pretty straightforward. I think I recorded about 6 or 7 different guitar parts in that track at the beginning of the video, and what I want to do now is solo some of those parts outside of the mix. There's some great videos, of course, already on this pedal from other YouTubers as well as on the STRYMON site, where every single thing they go through and show you, as is sort of my style. My videos about making a song with it and trying to make some music and dial in some cool tones. So I'll just solo those parts for you outside of the mix, but I think I use a lot of different sounds. I use the Fender amp for all the clean stuff. I played some crunchy sort of edge of breakup sounds with the Voxy tone, which I really loved actually. That was probably one of my favorite sounds in it. And as I mentioned, for the solos in the track, I used the Marshall Plexi sound. For the main solo, I used the GNR style own hammer impulse, I think, of a greenback loaded 412 cabinet. And then for the sort of second solo with the 335, which I really enjoyed playing actually, I used the open back 212 with V30s. Okay, so let's get on to it. Some sound examples of the Iridium from my good friends at STRYMON. Guitar geeks everywhere, that was my video on the Strymon Iridium. I hope you enjoyed the tune, and I hope you enjoyed the tones I was able to come up with. I think it's a great pedal for somebody that wants a simple, straightforward, yet pretty versatile still, modeling pedal. It's their first foray into this whole modeling amp and impulse response world, and I think they came up with a really, really neat product. You know, for somebody that wants to put together a cool little tiny pedal board, maybe you could put this with a modeling effects pedal or something like that on a board and you'd have everything you need. I almost forgot to mention there's a favorite switch. You can effectively get two different sounds. The way the knobs are set on the pedal, and then by hitting the favorite switch you can go to, like, think of it as like a second channel. So you could A/B between a clean sound and a solo boost, or clean sound and a dirty crunch sound, maybe hit it with a pedal for solo boost. The possibilities are limitless. You can check it out further at the website that you see down in the video description below. Just click on that, it'll take you to the webpage for the Strymon Iridium. Please hit subscribe if you haven't, hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, and hey, I'll see you guys real soon for more videos. I am Pete Thorn. Take care. All right, see ya.